Hello students. This video will go over the first step of creating your product mockup. This part of the video will go over choosing a theme for your product, a subject or theme for your mockup, and then creating the repeating pattern and color combination that you will then wrap around your mockup. So with that in mind, first off, what is a product mockup? Product mockup is a digital sample of what a color combination, pattern, and logo might look like together on a real product. Before a company goes to final production on a design or t-shirt or a product, they will hire a graphic designer to create a variety of mockups. Usually what it is they'll take one idea and try it or one product, and they'll show a few different samples, and then the art director will have to choose which sample they go forward with in production. So in this example here, I have the same pattern 3 different ways. Normally it's the same product but 3 different patterns. Some subjects or some areas or industries where you will see product mockups. Beauty products, fashion and accessories, packaging design, milk cartons, coffee mugs, all those kind of things, as well as interior design and architecture for things like patterns on furniture, patterns on wallpapering. And then last but not least, in the fields of architecture and sculpture, you may wrap around a pattern around a sculpture or around the outside exterior of a building to see what a facade material might look like, or a mural or billboard might look like wrapped around a location or a building. So the key thing to think about as you choose your product is when you're looking for reference images to work with, you want to be looking for images that have a white surface with very minimal text, minimal logos. You can remove logos and text that are on there, but it's helpful if you start with a white surface to then map or wrap your pattern and color combination onto. Yeah, so here are just a couple other examples of more larger exteriors. So, but the first part we're going to focus on is sort of first things first, you want to choose the subject. Second thing you want to do is choose the kind of color combination and pattern that you want to wrap around your product. To do that, we are going to use a program called Repr. There is a link to this program in your Google Classroom. Please just give your school email address and sign up for the 12-day free trial. We will not be using this for more than 12 days. And then if you have completed the natural rhythms painting, one of your 2 patterns that you're going to use for your mockup should be the artwork that you created for your natural rhythms project. However, if you have not completed that assignment, that is okay. You can create patterns using stock photography or stock artwork. So the first thing you're going to do is create a new project, call it brand or product mockup. In this case, I'm going to do milk carton. And I'm going to create a project. Now, I have a library of images. If you don't have any pictures, there are some demo examples of artworks that you can choose. You can also use this feature here to search for images of different patterns. And it's nice because they offer some, filters that you can filter for just lines or abstract art, and then create a pattern based on that. So for me, like I'm going to create a pattern based on some geometry here. It's helpful, in my opinion, if you're working on patterns created from drawings drawings and paintings and design as opposed to from photographs. So once I found a pattern that I want to play with, I'm going to just load it into Repr. And now Repr gives me this image over here, and then it gives you a little triangle of what that's going to look like. Now I'm going to zoom out. Oh no, that's full screen. The window on your right, let me go back to design mode, is what the pattern will look like. The window on the left, the bottom left, is a kind of sample of what section is being used to create the pattern. So you can move this around to kind of see different varieties of patterns or repeating patterns. And you can enlarge it and shrink it down. And that is just using the sample of octagon tiling. If you click this down arrow, they will give you a bunch of different repeating styles, and each one of these styles will have its own unique effect. The ones on this section are obviously seamless, but the ones here have a little bit more of that standard traditional kind of grid style where it just repeats over and over again in a grid or off to the side. So play around with a few different varieties. I'm going to I liked this one, but I do think it's a little busy. So I'm going to kind of simplify it down. And then within each feature, there's things like rotation. If you want it to be diamonds instead of squares, you can create a much bigger pattern. You can play with the details. So this is like a small pattern. This is a big pattern. I'm kind of liking right around there. Although this is still a little too busy for a milk carton. So if I wanted to change I wanted more of like a pastel blue, I'm going to go over to effects and I'm going to play with these effects. So color adjustment is a super nice one for creating more like light pastel colors. So I've lightened the brightness, and I'm also going to turn down the contrast. So now it's more of like a pastel blue. And I feel like I've got a good pattern, so I'm going to just hit plus and get a snapshot. The first assignment is to just play with Repr and create 5 different patterns. One of those patterns should be based on your Natural Rhythms project. So if you want to use the painting from your Natural Rhythms project, you just click upload and navigate to wherever you downloaded your pattern on your computer, whether it's in your desktop or whatnot. So here was the tile that I made in class. So I'll just open, and now I can create a really repetitive pattern from this, or I can make it a little bigger. Let me just play with a simple traditional grid so you can kind of see. And I'm going to turn effects off from the previous one and rotation off. So this is kind of your standard repeating pattern. And then from there, I could, if I like this, I'll just keep it as is, repeating pattern, and just hit plus. But I may try something a little funky and kind of play with some of these, kind of like that. This would be really nice on like a beauty product, or like a lotion or something like that. So I'm going to kind of, let me find a good one that's not too wreathy. I feel like that's great. And let me see about some other effects here. What about putting a little bit of color, different colors? So let me change the color using this duotone and make it like a pink and like a two-tone. But I'm going to actually turn the amount, so it's not like fully doing that, but I'm just putting a little bit of tint. So this is like before, and that's after. And I like that, so I'm going to hit plus. And again, the goal is to have 5 different samples. Once I have 5 samples, I'm going to go to export up here, and I can kind of see what these look like. I can make little minor adjustments of what the repeating pattern will look like. The one thing I did suggest is that you keep your repeats up around like 5, 6, so that there's a few iterations. So this one, if I make it too high, it might get too tiny. So I feel like that's a good amount. And now once I've got these, PNG is fine. I'm going to click Save Snapshots. And all 3 of those snapshots are going to get exported into a zip file, which I can then export, which I can then unzip and upload into Google Classroom. So that is the process for how to create your repetitive pattern. The next video in this series will go over how to choose a reference photo for your product. But just remember, in the back of your mind, as you're looking for patterns, as you're looking for pictures, you want to be looking for color combinations that complement your theme. So if it's clothing, you don't want like bright neon, maybe you do want bright neon colors. But if it's like a bedroom wallpaper, you don't want neon colors. But if it's clothing, you may want neon colors. So the different contexts are super important. So let me just extract these. And then show extracted files so that I can then open them on my computer. I could then upload them onto Google Classroom for the assignment under thematic pattern. And that's it. If you have any other questions about how to this first step, please email me and we can set up a time to meet over Zoom. Otherwise, I hope everybody is safe and well and have a great day.